The concrete jungle is fast paced. And when we learn to be shamans in the concrete jungle, we know how to go into the slow lane, into the bicycle lane, and not let the traffic of the rest of the world affect us.
And that's back to being a deep listener and deep observer.
So now the next thing is, how do you know if your spirit guide's been hijacked or not? Let's go light workery for a second. How many times have we heard hijack light workers, hijack spirit guides on my shows?
Yeah.
Okay.
People who've come to my workshops who have said they were Merlin in the past life. They've been told that by the spirit guide, and all sorts of things.
Yeah. Do you know how many Sophias I've met? Highest Sophias. Do you know how many? I mean, you name it. I've met in a given year, 20 people who believe they're freaking ISIS. 30 people a year. How do they get convinced?
Why don't they stop to question it ever? Is it just their spiritual ego is so running the show?
They have let go of their spiritual street smarts and are in overbelief mode. It's like a child being told a story by an adult, and the child doesn't know that it's a story. They take it as truth. And let's say that adult wants to play a little game on the child, and there's going to be a joke at the end, but none of the children are going to get it because it's an adult joke. Okay? Unfortunately, our subconscious will often hijack the tell me now, tell me now, tell me now. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I want you to hear. You were Napoleon in another life. And before that, you were Alexander the Great. And before that, you were this and this and this. Oh my God, I was all these beautiful things. Whoa. Let me call up Andrew and find out for validation. And then what happens? They lose faith. They broke trust. When they could have just questioned that in the moment, going, hey, in the years of me listening to this shit, how many people have said they were this guy or they were that guy? How are we all the same guy? Logic. Simple, street smart, spirit logic. Okay? We cannot be wide-eyed, bushy-tailed little kids looking up to the guide who's your parasympathetic or some external entity telling you a story and marketing you what? To buy his bullshit for 99 cents of your energy.
The discernment is learned, isn't it?
Learned, earned, and relearned over and over again.
Through experiences.
And the daily practice, slowing the world down, and it becomes a cumulative knowledge base.
It's building on that inner wisdom the whole time. And if you're not going to do the daily work, how are you going to build on that inner wisdom?
Powerful words. If you're not going to do the inner work, how are you going to build on the inner wisdom? Process that, everyone out there. Think about it. Okay? How do you unlearn something? Dale, take that one up. How did you unlearn yourself? Unlearn being a light worker?
I think it was the hard truths and things so when I went through my process, it was like the death. I had to die a lot of times in order to grow and be authentic and be myself. So it's basically the relearning process for me was, again, the journey, going back to the journey, realizing that I'm a human, I have family, I want to be a dad, but I want to be a fun dad. I don't want to be a dad or a parent who's lost in the light, making the kids do stuff they didn't want to do. So for me, it was always about, I was always looking at what I was doing and in discernment, whether it's good or whether it's bad. At the start of my journey, I was making my kids meditate. Like once every 2 weeks, I was doing ceremonies, and it got obsessive. And I knew there was innately something in me which knew it wasn't right. And so I had to go through that, had to go through that realization of looking at myself, being truthful for myself and knowing that who I am is not to make my children to be spiritual. They have their own spiritual contracts. Even a lot of them might not be spiritual, they may be spiritual. And it was about, for me, unlearning what I learned at the start of my light worker salad journey, where I was vegan, I was underweight, I was almost in hospital at one point. I looked really ill. I seen a picture of me and I looked fucking yellow. Gabrielle said it was my yellow stage. And I was like, I wouldn't let anyone in. And I was so my relearning was the hard fucking lessons of life, learning the hard way, realizing I was in karma all the time. I was attracting really negative shit in my life. And it got to the point of listening to, obviously, Andrew as a mentor throughout the years of, you know, he's not going to do it for me. Even the sessions, he told me some fucking great shit. But all of the stuff you said to me was stuff for me to actually do on my own, do it by myself and go through that validation. So unlearning would be, it's having those moments and biting your lip. If it feels uncomfortable sometimes, just allow it, laugh about it. Like I laugh at some of the silly shit I've done. I have to do. I have to start breaking up some of the seriousness, because I even got blame and shame and guilt back in my Lightworkers day about everything I did. So it stopped me from doing as great work. So if I make mistakes now, I forgive myself, move on and enjoy the moment. And I think that's for everyone. Shame, blame and guilt really holds a lot of people back from unraveling and relearning. So when they go and do something wrong, they go into shame, blame and guilt, they'll give up for a bit, then they'll come back onto it every so often. But when you have that mistake, it's about forgiving yourself, fucking move on, just enjoy it, like laugh about it. Before, this crazy guy 10, 11 years ago was just so uptight and so like with all my clothes on and just like wouldn't listen to my wife about what she was saying, and my way was like the right way, that Archangel Michael, Doreen Virtue. That was a lot of marketing for me, was seeing all of her shit. And I think I bought everyone like stuff. Got a lot of those cards back in the day. So yeah, it's going through those stiff upper lip moments. And if you are doing, then you can change the moment of the now direction of where you want to go. I'm living proof of come out of addiction, come out of being a zealot, a light worker. And I've still got tendencies in me, light worker tendency I still have to work on. So it's just always about hindsight, foresight, and unraveling through doing that great work.
So how did the zealot hijack the vegan in you and just make you not eat protein and make you think you were doing the right thing?
I think I watched, one of the biggest things for me, what made me go light work, was watching Thrive once, the YouTube video called Thrive. And it was like a huge, everyone watched it at that period of time. And that opened me up to thinking the world was wrong and everything was against me. I joined a place called Fillmore and Union, which was like a really healthy vegan, still sold meat cafe. And I used to wake up and have spirulina for breakfast and apple juice. That's all I had for breakfast. And I had some salad for lunch and so on. So yeah, for me, that martyrship was so ingrained into me, Andrew. It was just this machine and robot turned on, oblivious to everything really. And I feel like maybe my parasympathetic got me, my ego got me, teacher. But yeah, I was full-time light worker the first, and I was recovering after like 2 years. And probably 2013 was the part where I had to start. Yeah.
So when you see your yellow you in full-on anemia, do you realize how sick you were then?
Yes, it was really bad. Like I see a video of me now and I'm like, holy fuck, who's that guy? And I'm like, I look back here, I'm like, wow, that is what I didn't know and what I was avoiding, what I wouldn't look at was just beyond me. And yeah, if I had a conversation with that guy today, I'd be like, who the fuck's this guy? Like,
would he even be able to hear you?
No, he wouldn't be able to hear me at all.
He wouldn't be able to hear you.
And pushing people away was a hard part. Like a lot of people awaken and all of a sudden they fall out with everyone because they have some sort of belief system that the family's against them, the mum's against them, the dad's horrible, blah, blah, blah. And this is what I went through. And it only got till 2014, 15, where I realized I love my family. I've always loved my family and I need to spend time with them and just share being a human with them. And so the last part for me was spending time as much as I can with his flaws. My dad, I loved him to pieces, and I wanted to spend time with him. But when I was in that light worker mode, I shoved everyone away, my mum, my dad, and I kind of like separated, wanted to go live in a fucking yurt or something, and completely like just had a dream of like, you know what, one day I'm going to get my kids and move away and just go off somewhere away from everyone.